In this video, I will be taking a look at another hypothetical 2024 presidential matchup, but this time, instead of two candidates, we'll have four candidates. AOC, the very progressive candidate, will end up running in the quote progressive party. Joe Biden will be the Democrat, Donald Trump will be the Patriot Party, a really conservative party, and Ron DeSantis, a less conservative party but still the Republicans. So I'm going to get right into today's prediction. Now I'm going to start off state by state. So Washington, I think this state could go to AOC, but I'm going to give it as tilt for Joe Biden. I think that it's just very unlikely that the Green Party could actually win that many elections. Now for the state of Oregon, however, I will give AOC a likely win. I don't think this is too surprising. Oregon is like the most progressive state in the entire United States. Now for the state of California, I think Joe Biden will still win by a safe margin. There could be some voters breaking for AOC, but I just don't think that's going to affect the race much at all. Now I think Nevada, there's a lot of voters that are more likely to support someone like Donald Trump in the rural areas. I think Clark County could be quite split between the candidates, and I think that Trump could actually narrowly pull this one out. Now for the state of Arizona, they might vote for Ron DeSantis. I think that this is still going to be a close one, but again, there's a lot of McCain type of people in the state of Arizona, so I'm going to give it to Ron DeSantis. Now Alaska could be close between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. I'm going to give it to Trump just because Trump's appeal is generally greater in many of the rural areas. Hawaii, however, will go to Joe Biden by a safe margin. Now for the states of Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, and South Dakota, these are definitely states that will go for Trump because these are rural states that typically go for someone like Trump, who is extremely conservative. However, Utah could be a likely margin just given the fact that there are many voters that could support someone like Mitt Romney that could break for Ron DeSantis. Now, Montana will be a pretty close state because I think that there's still a lot of rural voters voting for Ron DeSantis, but at the end of the day, it will still be Trump's state. Now for the state of Texas. Texas could actually go for Ron DeSantis because again, there's a lot of suburban voters that may have shifted away from Trump that might vote for Ron DeSantis. I'm going to give it to DeSantis. Now for the state of Colorado, this is a very progressive state, thus I will give it to AOC. I think AOC, again, could do very well on the issues such as abortion, such as climate change, and such as drugs. So for the state of New Mexico, by drugs I meant marijuana, sorry. So for the state of New Mexico, this could be a state that Joe Biden wins. It could be a very narrow margin, but I think Joe Biden has a narrow lead. So for the state of Nebraska, the at-large vote, I think will go to Trump. The 3rd district obviously will go to Trump. The 2nd district could go for Joe Biden or Ron DeSantis by a narrow margin. I'm just going to give it to DeSantis by a tilt margin. And for the 1st district, I'm still going to give it to Trump, but I think that there could be a lot of voters voting for Ron DeSantis as well. So for Kansas, there's a lot of voters that could break for Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Ron DeSantis. Trump and DeSantis are splitting the Republican vote. There's not going to be many voters that are actually going to vote for AOC. However, Trump is still probably going to win the state of Kansas. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and Missouri. These states are typically just going to vote for someone like Trump because these are rural states, and rural states typically do support Trump. Someone like Trump at least. So for the state of Mississippi, I will also put it as a likely margin for Donald Trump. I don't think this is too surprising as well. So these are pretty much all the rural states are going for Donald Trump at this moment in time. Now for Ron DeSantis could end up winning the state of Florida. Although Trump is technically from the state, Ron DeSantis is the state's governor, and it does look like that Trump being born in the state of New York might hurt him in the state of Florida. So I'm going to give Florida to Ron DeSantis. Now, Georgia could also go for DeSantis. I don't think that's much of a surprise, to be honest. There's a lot of Atlanta voters that could vote for Ron DeSantis, but are just not willing to vote for Donald Trump. Joe Biden will definitely carry the state of Illinois. There's no questions being asked. Now, Trump should be able to carry Iowa and Ohio. These could be closer states because there's a lot of vote splitting, but I think that, again, Trump is favored in both states. Now let's get into some Biden states. Minnesota was going to be a pretty split state. There's a lot of Minneapolis voters that could vote for AOC, but I think Biden's still narrowly favored in that state. And I think that because of the vote splitting, you could see Democrats sweep the Rust Belt more because AOC is not going to split as much of the Democratic vote as Trump and DeSantis is going to split the Republican vote. So Michigan, Pennsylvania, both of these states, I think, could end up going for Joe Biden because there's not many progressive voters to actually support AOC. In the state of Wisconsin as well, I might as well just give it to Joe Biden. Now for South Carolina, I think that Trump is definitely favored. Now for the state of North Carolina. North Carolina, there's a lot of voters, a lot of rural voters that could support Donald Trump. There's a lot of urban voters that could support Joe Biden or AOC. And there's a lot of moderate voters that could go for DeSantis. However, in some of the southern states that are pretty split, I would just generally give Ron DeSantis the narrow edge. Now for the state of Virginia, I think that Joe Biden should be favored. Again, Biden did pretty well in that state. Now the states of D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Rhode Island will all go to Joe Biden. He is going to do pretty well in many of those states, as well as New York. New York could be closer because Trump is from that state, and in 2022 we saw how that state got closer. But I'm still going to give it to Joe Biden. Now for AOC, AOC could end up winning Vermont and the state of Massachusetts because Elizabeth Warren is indeed from that state, and also Ed Markey in 2020 won re-election against Joe Kennedy, the more moderate candidate. So I'm gonna give that to AOC as well. New Hampshire's pretty close. I might go for AOC because New Hampshire is in the same area as Vermont and Massachusetts. That means first district will probably gonna go for Joe Biden. Maine second district obviously gonna go for Trump because he's very popular there. And if you look at the at-large vote, probably gonna go for Joe Biden by a tilt margin. So the combined Republican electoral vote and the combined Democratic electoral vote is actually the same. 269 for the Republicans, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, and 269 for Joe Biden and AOC. So who actually wins? Now, first of all, AOC gets kicked because only the top three could end up actually participating in the election, in which Joe Biden could actually be favored, considering that there will be not many electors really willing to vote for Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump if they are Democratic electors. So Joe Biden probably will win under this situation, but again, this is a very interesting matchup. Thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.